Overcoming Assumptions That Inhibit Spiritual Development, a lecture by Idries Shah, delivered in 1976 before a live audience. This lecture was previously entitled A Psychology of the East.
Talking of assumptions, when I was here last in San Francisco, it's in April and May, I was in this very room. I walked up roughly to where I am now here, and although there were very few people in the room whom I had met before, there was a burst of laughter, and this made me, a bit, I was wondering if you were all, had ESP or something, and I didn't really know what it meant. But a lot of people wrote to me after this, and one of them, who seemed more friendly than many of the others were, invited me to ask him any questions, and I said, right, could you tell me why everybody laughed when I walked up? It's like, they laughed when I sat down at the piano sort of thing. Why did they laugh as soon as they saw me? And he told me that that was an assumption. The assumption was that I had walked up very quietly and slowly and perhaps slightly stiffly to the microphone and did not show my teeth. In America, it's only Jack Benny that doesn't show his teeth, and he's a funny man, they say. Yeah. Well, all right, so will you consider my teeth shown for today? Now, since we are here in California, something which I made the assumption once upon a time could never possibly happen to me, but it has, I just want to read us into the assumption situation, which hopefully is being dissolved here. Some of you may have heard of J.B. Priestley, a famous British writer. He wrote in 1957, I looked him up because when I was coming to California I had to know something about it, and he says, California, that advanced post of our civilization with its charlatan philosophies and religions, its lack of anything old or well-tried, its total absence of anything rooted in tradition or character. Well, now, so I had the usual assumptions about California, and I'm still suffering from the euphoria of finding out that, it isn't like that at all. So I want to go on that record because I want to come back to California. Well, now, here's another assumption. I nearly didn't come to California because a friend of mine once annoyed a whole American audience by telling them, somebody asked him, how long would it take to stabilize the western areas of the United States? And he said, 300 years. And they were very angry with him. But here's an interesting thing of the assumption thing, because they didn't know, although they were Americans, that he had taken Thomas Jefferson's estimate of 1,000 years and knocked off 70% of it from courtesy. So you see where we are with assumptions. I have a lot here about California, but I don't think it really does work so well. Besides, I want to get on to my all-purpose lecture. Now, there is an ancient tale.
Stories from Tales of the Dervishes by Idries Shah.
The Three Fishes. 3 fishes once lived in a pool. They were a clever fish, a half-clever fish, and a stupid fish. Life continued for them very much as it is for fishes everywhere, until one day came a man. He was carrying a net, and the clever fish saw him through the water. Calling upon his experience, the stories he had heard, and his cleverness, he decided to take action. There are few places to hide in this pool, he thought. I shall therefore play dead. He summoned his strength and jumped out of the pool, landing at the feet of the fisherman, who was rather surprised. But as the clever fish was holding his breath, the fisherman supposed that he was dead, and threw him back. This fish now glided into a small hole under the bank. Now the second fish, the half-clever one, did not quite understand what had happened, so he swam up to the clever fish and asked him all about it. Simple, said the clever fish. I played dead, so he threw me back. So the half-clever fish immediately leapt out of the water at the fisherman's feet. Strange, thought the fisherman, they're leaping about all over the place. And because the half-clever fish had forgotten to hold his breath, the fisherman realized that he was alive and put him into his satchel. He turned back to peer into the water, and because he had been slightly confused by the fishes jumping onto dry land in front of him, he did not close the flap of his bag. The half-clever fish, when he realized this, was just able to ease himself out, and flipping over and over, got back into the water. He sought out the first fish and lay panting beside him. Now the third fish, the stupid one, was not able to make anything at all of this, even when he heard the first and second fish's versions. So they went over every point with him, stressing the importance of not breathing in order to play dead. "Thank you so much. Now I understand," said the stupid fish. With these words, he hurled himself out of the water, landing just beside the fisherman. Now the fisherman, having lost 2 fish already, put this one into his bag without bothering to look at whether it was breathing or not. He cast the net again and again into the pool, but the first 2 fish were crouched into the depression under the bank, and the flap on the fisherman's bag this time was fully closed. Finally, the fisherman gave up. He opened the bag, realized that the stupid fish was not breathing, and took him home for the cat.